Okay, just tried to record a session and thought I had, but I had not clicked the start recording button. On the other hand, I played horribly, so, I think I lucked out here. Alright, gonna go for a Lowenthal Sicilian, because this is my jam, and because I think I've been playing too slowly, and if you can play something you're a little more familiar with, that can often really help increase your speed. Okay, here try to get some quick pressure against e4. I usually play for a quick bishop e6, for instance against bishop g5 I need to control d5 quickly. So bishop e6, also against bishop c4 I would play that way, hoping to take back here and get really good control. So I can play h6, I am sacking a pawn if they want it, and I have two ways to continue against that. I can play rook d8 here, which I think is the best move, or I can play knight d4, which is the sneakiest move. Which do we feel like today? I guess rook d8. And now queen g5 with the point they have trouble castling this way, and if the bishop comes out, they have trouble castling the other way. This is a line, but I get quick pressure against c2. I think rook c8 is best here, because I can now play I think knight a2. I'm just going to come out. They can't trap the bishop. Maybe I had b5 there. Then knight c5. Okay. White has an extra pawn, but it is not a good pawn, and their bishop is going to be bad. So I don't think this is a wonderful position for black, but I think I have pretty reasonable compensation for a pawn. I'm going to play rook d8, probably rook d6, look to double or swing to the king side. If b5, I can play bishop takes b5, and the pawn's pinned. Here, maybe rook g6. Think about rook g4. f5? No, they take. Okay. So I'll slightly improve my pieces. Bishop d7 comes with a threat, but I think it's pretty easily avoided. I guess rook g4. If king f3, f5. And the pawn's pinned. So I think I have some decent pressure here. And I should be able to get back the pawn. So bishop takes, rook takes, pawn takes, king takes. I think I'm in trouble there. Alright, we'll back out. Still threatening pawn takes on e4. Yeah. Maybe rook f6 next, the rook comes to f3. Maybe it doesn't. Alright, let's throw in a check. Maybe double over here. Because they don't have easy access to invade on the d file. Maybe I can play rook f2 and swing over behind their pawns. Gotta speed up. Maybe bishop b5 is sometimes worth including, because I think this bishop really helps their defense. My rooks at this point are pretty clearly better than their rooks, and so I want to trade off what I think is their best defensive piece. Alright, rook f2, where do they move the bishop? I'm not sure. So I'm going to try it. If they move it on this diagonal, I might come back to f3. And so if they're going to move the bishop, I would expect it to be this kind of direction. So then I can take and bring the other rook in. Now can I slide the rook around behind their pawns? Now if something like bishop g4, rook h1 grabs this rook. Okay, I'll just take a pawn. Why not? No need to be fancy. Alright, I'll take here, threatening rook d8 when they have trouble going to c3 because e3 falls. We're just going to take more stuff. Wow, this endgame went really well out of something that did not seem like a great position. Okay, I'll take another pawn. Okay, that went remarkably well. I do think this this pawn sacrifice isn't so bad. Knight b4. They can also give back the pawn with bishop d3, but then black's fine. And I like this rook c8 move, just threatening to take on a2. Because if I took on a2 this turn, knight takes, bishop takes, b3 traps my bishop. So rook c8 just prepares it. And then I can go there anyway, and we get this. I'm a pawn down. The computer will tell you white's a little better. But I think black has decent defensive chances, and as we saw, you know, black has some active moves to make. 1 for 1. I think I played a good game, and I recorded this one, unlike the terrible game, so clearly this is the only one that counts. Alright. I'm gonna play, alright, I think you play queen e2 after e4. Okay, I'll just take pawns, why not? Do I threaten bishop c4? I'm not sure. g2, takes f7, complicated. Let's try it. Now I don't like it at all. Can I get out? Let's try to get out. Let's back out immediately. Oh, very suspicious. Now they'll have bishop g4. Oh, man. Bishop g4, knight g5. Am I alive there? I'm not sure. So queen takes, bishop g4, knight g5, knight d4, bishop f7, king e7, bishop b3. I think I'm okay. Man, this was not the right way to do it, though. I have a cat meowing. They're taking a while here. But this is the kind of position where they might be thinking they have something crushing and should be looking for it. Which makes sense, they might. I don't see it. But I do think bishop g4 makes sense. Drive away the only defender of this. If they give me a turn, if they play something like bishop d6, maybe I just play c3. Just making sure they don't have invasion. Yeah. Okay. Thought knight g5. If castle's queenside... Ugh. Okay, maybe now I have time for c3, though. Maybe my king will run out this way, if rook e8. Because obviously, rook e8, if king f1, bishop h3, king g1, rook e1, I can't do arrows, but that is checkmate. So we go to d2. Keep the game going. Still hitting f7. Would love to develop some pieces. That doesn't stop me taking f7. But they do have knight e4 tricks. Huh. So if, for instance, bishop f7, knight f7, I do concede knight e4. Maybe that's okay. Bishop f7, knight e4, knight takes e4, bishop takes f7. That could be tricky. I think I gotta try it. Because I really want their light squared bishop gone, because if this is gone, then I can go to c2, and then my king will feel pretty stable there. Unless they get rook e2 in, which they probably will. But my king will feel a lot stabler there with their bishop gone. Okay. Maybe f3 now. Don't allow a knight to come in. They can play h6, and then I might play rook e1, trying to control e5. Okay. About king d3. Do I have everything defended? I hope so. Right. How do I even make a move, though? That is the question. Right. Rook g1. Help defend my knight coming out. Right, knight e5. It's time to try to escape. If knight takes, pawn takes, bishop c5, I have rook e1. Let's just centralize the king. Let's go for it. They can play rook e8 and think about knight f6 sometimes, but I'm just going to take on g7. No fear. No fear. Little fear. I hate this position. What's the, square they can least inconvenience? Maybe g3. Trying to come to b3 or c4. I guess c4 now. Okay, try to keep everything together as long as I can. Knight f4, play rook d2. What a nightmare. Okay, they're not yet on my pawn, so I didn't think I had to defend it this turn. Play c4, try to get the knight back to c4. Where can I go? Alright, my king's on the run. We're on the run. Okay, still on the run. Still on the run. But looking like we might make it out. They have no good checks, and I can start checking. Yeah. Okay, and we're winning by the end. Alright, 2 for 2. How did that all go so wrong? I've forgotten the opening. Okay, let's play the advance. I had this idea with an early knight d2. And the idea is to go for the g4 lines, but with the knight oddly placed on d2 instead of on c3. And I think we can play it the same way. If there are big differences, I am not familiar with them. Maybe knight b3. Try to hinder c5, which is black's normal break. And just play against c5. Just lock down c5. Give them nothing. Sure, play h5. How do they develop? f4? I thought they should play bishop h4 check. I will now prevent it. We'll just keep an eye on c5. Okay, if you do play c5, you're going to at some point have to take back with something pinned there. Ah, they're not taking back there. Okay. Maybe bishop h3. Try a4, a5 ideas. I'll leave that pawn alone for now. I think the f file has more use to me than them. Maybe de5. Okay, they're trying to open things up. But I'm okay with that. I don't think this position I should mind an opening up. Right, I'll play queen d2. Can't play a4 now because the knight's loose. Now I'm on e6. They can play f5 maybe, and then I'll play king h2 and go for rook g1 and try to play on the g file. Their knight's still so bad. And if they play f5, their bishop's bad. Okay, now de5 hits their queen. And I take. I'm up a pawn, and I think their position's quite difficult. I can't quite follow up by taking on a7. That seems too much even for, a pawn grubber. But maybe queen e3, make a threat. Apparently a good threat. Bishop b6. Yeah, I like bishop b6. Their queen has no squares except b8, and then I can take, and then take, and then take on d7. And we got there. I guess knight g3, hit the bishop, block the g file, beat this with king h2. I even have enough time on the clock that this should be a straightforward conversion. Right, let's just make sure nothing happens on the g-file. I think this is the second time I've played the knight d2 line, ever, but also on stream. And it has real promise, because it doesn't work quite like the normal version. This knight b3 idea is just not there in the normal means of playing this opening. And it has some real sting to it. No need to take on d8. The bishop's not going anywhere. Should I throw a knight d8 check? Sure, why not? Yeah. Alright. 3 for 3. Much better than my attempted recording. Oh man. Okay. Trying to play openings I have somewhat higher familiarity with, so I can get through the opening phase with a decent amount of time on the clock. Ooh, this is a mistake. You really should get castled before playing d6. Now I can chase the bishop, this knight's pinned, so my defender is enough, and I can open up the game, and the idea is just to give this pawn to get time for bishop g5. And white has serious problems. One of my best tournament games ever, I think, at least in terms of like me playing correctly, was in this. My opponent did play bishop h5, I played h3. They played bishop h5, I believe I played g4. Now I took on d4, adding pressure to c6. I'm never worried about them taking, because their king is still so awkward in the center. I believe they castled. Ooh, this player has guts. I don't get it. Huh. Knight takes c6 is also possible. Yeah, maybe knight c6. Check. You can take on f6, and that seems to just win. Because knight f6, bishop c6, knight h7, I grab the queen. Possible I have even better here, though. I like knight f6, that seems good enough. I think they have to try to give up the queen for the two pieces. Oh, they can actually take on h3 here. Wow. Wow. Am I lost? Did I just blow this? That would be incredible. Yeah. Alright, I think I have to play bishop e7 check, hoping they take with rook e1. But I don't have f3 here. And rook h1 is coming and unstoppable. So I'll play check. Can't hurt me. Hope they take. But yeah, no, I just blew this. Wow. Huh. Tacticked myself. Yeah, alright, I'll resign this and then we can look, but... Ooh. Totally winning position. Yeah, clearly. But not knight takes f6. Because I don't have knight takes h7 here. Interesting. So, other lines I was looking at are not really the ones said here. I was looking at, like, rook e1, which is good enough. But bishop f6, gf6, just queen d2, king g7, gotta defend h6, and then just develop, and, you know, white has a delightful game. But I went for more and did not get it. Huh, interesting. We learned something. Oh, also, was knight c6 correct here? No. Everything else is better. Alright, so bishop f6, gf6, rook e1 looks like enough, but even better is bishop c6, bc6, because knight c6, and the queen doesn't have squares, because d7, knight f6, and queen c8, also knight f6? Let's follow this out a sec. This is something like the game I had, where I calculated out more of these lines, and then I just take on e4. Yeah, my game went, they didn't take on e4, they castled. I think I played bishop c6 with the point that bc6, knight c6, and the queen doesn't have squares. because b8 is covered, and e7 is covered. And if they go to e8, then bishop f6, and they can't take back because their queen's forked. And queen d7 has the exact same problem, and queen c8 is forked immediately by knight e7. So I took on c6, they took on d4, they took bishop f6, gf6, knight f6. Now they should have gone to h8, where I probably would have played knight d7 and grabbed the exchange, but they went to g7, which gives me a much nicer finish. I don't actually remember which way I went with the knight. Maybe knight e8. King h6 is forced because king g8 is met by queen g7. Queen g7, king g5, f4, here, here, here. And I just played rook a1, and I was pretty proud of that. Just a slow move. And I had seen that before I played knight e8 check. That's one of my, I think, finer wins in a tournament. Nice miniature. It was against a 1850 or so, but they had drawn a 2300 in the previous round. So it felt pretty nice because I was worried they were, someone drastically underrated. Let's play the tango. I've lost track of what my score is. I think this will be my last game. I need dinner. Alright. I'm going to turn this into a Bogo Indian. I haven't really played any of these, but bishop d2, knight d2, and now I play d6 and go for e5. Actually, I think d6 might be a slight inaccuracy because white has this weird knight f1, knight e3 idea. But my idea is the same. I'm going to get this strong stake in the center with e5. One sec. Yep, I'm going to go for e5. Normally white plays d5. The knight comes here because this gives it the best rerouting to its best square. Now play a5 with the point of stopping b4 as long as possible. Go to knight a6 or d7. Not sure, actually. Can also throw in bishop g4. I think knight a6. I think my bishop's going to end up on d7. I'm also going to play on c6 at some point. Because when I take, if they take back this way, I've opened a square for my bishop. And if I take this way and they take back that way, I've opened up a different square. So I'm going to head for the b5 square. Because that seems active. Can I give up a5? Kind of have the instinct I can, but I'm not actually sure why. I think so. I think on knight takes, queen c7, knight c4, bishop c4. Maybe they have rook c1 there, though. I could play b5 at the end. Losing the a-pawn is usually not such a big concern. Alright, well now I have to prove that it's not such a big concern. I can play also bishop d3. Yeah, let's keep it simple. Bishop d3, queen d3, knight c5. The queen has to come to d2 or c3 or b5, and I can take on a5 and play knight b3 and get the material back. I can also take on e4 here. But then I lose b7 at the end, so I'm going to go for the line I calculated. Rook a5, and then knight b3. And I think there's some claim that my knight is better than their bishop in the resulting endgames, because my knight has a really nice post on c5, or maybe potentially d4, and their bishop cannot contest my knight's best square. I think queen c7, just make sure I get the c-file before they do. Probably not. They can play queen d6 here. I think they should have. Alright, I'll play knight d7, prevent that. Try to come to c5. And again, they can't contest c5. And it controls a6, so they can't really push their pawn either. I now don't have to trade queens. I think I would have in the previous, but I now have b7 well defended. But I guess queen d7, maybe they do have a6, because knight a6, queen a6, ba6, rook takes. So okay, let's trade queens. And then I'll just get my rook off the pin. And they don't have a6. I'll try to bring my king to e7. With pawns on one side of the board, the bishop's not as good as it is with pawns on both, so if these two pawns trade, then I really do think my knight is better than the bishop for sure. If I get my king to e7, then my rook can swing over and start applying pressure to their pawn. Yeah, this makes sense. They're trying to trade these two pawns because my king e7 and rook a8 scheme is strong. Oh, could I have taken e4? No, I couldn't have because my b7 pawn's hanging. But I should have at least looked at it. Play rook a8. My knight's so good and they just can't contest it. Shouldn't have made that a red circle, but yeah. I like the Bogo Indian. You get this structure a lot. You get this nice knight. I feel I saw a tactic, which I always feel happy when I see. Okay. I can be greedy and grab on a5. And then I don't actually... Ooh, they take and then play d6, and that can be annoying. So, okay. But now e4 is a permanent weakness for them, right? Like, this pawn now cannot be defended by other pawns. This pawn's a problem. I guess I'll take this one because I don't want to lose my pawn. But now I'm up a pawn and really liking my position. So a few different ways to play this. I could play rook a4. I could play rook a3. One thing I like about rook a3 is rook b3 will force their rook off. And my hope is my knight will dominate the resulting position. I'd like to try to prove it with my passed b pawn. Okay, hit the bishop. I guess start pushing the pawn. Their king's so far away. Play b3. Try to get to c3, hit the bishop, and then play b2, b1. I liked this one. This one felt good. The Bogo is a fun line I haven't played on stream before. This one I sort of transposed into it, but yeah, this is, not worth playing on for them. Okay. Let's take it all. Right. That was a good one. I did say that was going to be my last, but I think that was only 4 games, and I feel good about that one. So let's get one more in. And I don't think I played the 5. Alright, go for the 4 knights again. Last time got a completely winning game out of the opening in it, and then hung mate in brilliant fashion. Alright, knight d4 is usually considered the best move. Bishop a4 is probably the most critical against it. Bishop c4 is an interesting gambit line. There's also both knight takes d4 and knight takes e5. So I think practically, even if it's pretty good for black, white has a lot of options. There was an interesting game, I forget who Grishuk was playing against, maybe Duda, but Grishuk and Duda maybe played a blitz game in it, maybe in the Speed Chess Championship, and just very clearly, or maybe, no, I think it was in one of the Grand Prix tournaments, and Duda plays this line, and it's like, aha, oh, he's playing a surprise weapon, he's worked this out. And then a move later, he makes a move the computer considers not good. And maybe it was okay. Maybe he was right and the computer was wrong. But it did make me think that players haven't really worked this out. Do I have trouble against bishop g4? Yeah. I should have thought a little more. Not doing the thinking too late. It's a problem. Yeah, this is just resignable. Yeah. So, like I was saying, people don't know the theory of this, especially me, apparently. Yeah. Ugh. Knight c2. What to do? What to do? Alright. Have a queen. But we defended c2, and that's what counts. If I can play knight e5 and d3, then my position goes from horribly, horribly lost to merely appalling. So I think we have hope. Alright. Stage 1, just getting the knight out of the way of the pawn with tempo. And then d3 next. What do I have for the queen? 2 pawns and a rook. So by standard counts, that's -2. I think, considering they have an attack, which they definitely do have here, and considering that I think better valuation of the pieces has it more like a rook is worth 5.25, a queen is worth around 10, and a pawn's still worth 1. I'm closer to down 3. Here. So now knight f3 is going to be threatened after they take. Guess I'll play king h1 in advance. Bishop e3 next if I have the chance. Obviously this is completely busted. But I would say I'm closer to -3 than -2 here. And given that they have an attack, maybe closer to -4. Because like if they play, say, knight 3f5 or something with the knight coming to h4, do I have anything I can do? Not really. That's cute. Alright, point is if I take, they have rook e1. I don't see anything to do in between moves, so we'll just play bishop d2, go down even more. Alright, they want bishop g3. Yeah, reasonable thing to want. I got nothing. How can we continue the game? Right, this looks like a terrible way to continue it. Bishop g3, I'm going to play h3, they're going to play bishop e5, then they're going to play queen g3, and then they're going to checkmate me. And I don't know why I thought this was the way to go. Ah, this is also a good move. Yeah, so on bishop e5, I wanted bishop e1. Well, this move just brings another attacker in. Okay. Let's hope they fall for some kind of mate. Bam! That's so close. It wasn't close. Okay, we'll just not resign this turn. They can play, I don't know, bishop f4. Ooh, but then I have rook a4. That's kind of cute. And then they have queen g3, and then I take an f4, and they take g2 mate. So this pin is not useful. But maybe rook a4 is coming. Alright, they're forcing exchanges. Rook a4 do anything? It can't hurt my position. That's the upside to my position. Nothing can hurt my winning chances, because I do not have them. Actually, though, I might now, because now I don't think e1 is defended. Yeah. Okay. Back in it. Never in doubt. Had this the whole way. What a horror show. What a sloppy game. What's the material? Am I up a pawn? Hey, we're gonna win this one. What a undeserved result. Yeah. Wow. Okay, well, miracles do happen. I will stop there. Cheers.